How's it going, guys? Dom here with Dom's Vlogs, and today we're here on the Mystery Month. This is pretty much where we're just going to be looking at scenes from movies and TV shows that kind of have a little bit of a thing that hasn't been solved yet. So today I want to look at the 1978 classic Grease. Released on June 1st, 1978 in the USA, follows high schoolers, yeah, definitely high schoolers here, Sandy and Danny. Danny played by John Travolta, and Sandy played by Olivia Newton-John. I'm sorry for the mispronouncing, but this is during the time where high school kids back in the 1950s. You got those greasers, you know what I mean. This was kind of like, in my opinion, they say that this is supposed to be a teen romance, but this is more of a comedy teen romance because there's a lot of comedy in it, but the teen romance itself has become one of the most popular things of this movie. And be honest, songs are very well choreographed, and the characters are both likable in their own way, but also dislikable in their own way. But how can you blame them? They're high schoolers. They don't know what's going to be happening in the real life world, you know? They're turning 18, they're ready to get out of high school, so that's what you expect. Most people are looking at basically the relationship between Danny and Sandy. Both of them have those types of strong connections, but there's also the kind of negativity that kind of breaks them apart for some reason. Except one's changed a bit, and the other one has changed as well. You know, Sandy is one of those little high school girls that is new to the place, you know, hasn't smoked, hasn't drank, hasn't done any rude stuff that a girl would do in the 1950s. Danny, he was that type of person who wouldn't do something that silly, but after Sandy left to Australia, Danny started to become a greaser, I think it's called the Tease Birds. I don't even know what kind of words those are, but you know, they have those kind of car chases against another group called the Scorpions. Z Nation flashbacks. And that's kind of how I would think of it. It's a summer type romance. I mean, this was released on June 1st. The sequel bombed. The live version, the Grease Live with Vanessa Hudgens, I never seen that one. Never even seen Grease 2 either, but I heard that the sequel is terrible. So, but I am impressed with the first movie, and that's kind of what I would expect when I'm going to talk about it. I mean, IMDb gives this a 7.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gives this a 75%. And 91% of people like this movie. I mean, literally, the people who did the directing was really good. The musics are very well choreographed, and the dance numbers are pretty much not that bad. The only problem with me is that there's songs that I just don't enjoy. But I can understand a lot of other people enjoying it, so I'm not going to quite criticize them saying that they're the worst. It's just, you know me, I'm way different compared to anybody else. But that's not what we're talking about in this movie. Although it's got a lot of great stuff, there's a bizarre scene, and that's the ending itself. The ending itself is one of the most bizarre endings that I have ever seen in cinema. Danny and Sandy, you know, are in a car, a beautiful car with a clear lid. I just don't know how well the engine's going to hold up in a clear lid. And they just fly off. They fly off to the sky, everybody's waving goodbye, Sandy's waving goodbye in the back, and then hits the actual high school books, you know, the high school books, I forgot what they call those things. And as far as you guys know, I had to deal with an illness. I think it's similar to The Walking Dead, so I might cough up some blood once in a while, like right now. But excuse me, I'm very sorry for that, but it's hard to get rid of an illness nowadays, isn't it? But That ending is bizarre. It is so bizarre, and that's why we need to talk about it today. Now, the reason why I'm going to talk about it is going to be putting my basic opinions that have been following on Twitter, to the director and to the actual actors who have played Sandy and Danny. And I'm also going to be looking at I'm also going to be talking about scenes from the movie, so that we can get a very good opinion, but also maybe something that kind of would make sense to this scene. Let's just talk about it, because it's so bizarre. So the ending itself, let's basically talk about it like if it was something that I would completely talk about, which is it's all in Sandy's head. Because let's think about it here. We can think of two different things. It could be something that people have been talking about through the internet, or it could be an opinion on somebody who's only seen the movie once. So let's go over my opinion, and then we'll go over everybody else's opinion, which I could kind of agree on. So my opinion is that it's all in Sandy's kind of head. She probably slept, maybe dreamt it, when she was back in Australia. So she dreamt I'm back in the United States. My boyfriend is there. He's changed, and I'm different as well. I meet these new people. I'm trying to get used to the new school. Now I need a change, and that's how the ending goes, is how she changed into that greaser-like outfit. That's kind of what I would say about it, because even I wouldn't, even for men back in the 50s here, even for you guys who have dressed like this, I'm not offending you, but even I wouldn't dress like that. So it could be in her own imagination, and that's kind of for both of them. Both opinions that people are talking about, it could be in Sandy's imagination because she dreams it, because she loves Danny. They both have I think this type of bond that doesn't break. Even if they have their problems in the movie, they still have this type of connection that they love each other, even if they've changed a bit. Then comes this one, which is surprisingly dark and has been taking a dark turn in top lists nowadays, and also opinion based. It's also followed on Twitter a lot too, stating that Sandy and Danny, the two Grease lovers, and I'm not talking about the actors, I'm talking about the characters, have died. Don't jump into conclusions, just let me finish. People have been saying that they had died they drowned in the beach that you saw in the beginning. Actually, there is one scene where Danny said, Danny's friend says, "How was the beach?" And he says, "It was flipping." So he was probably meaning he got flipped off from the... Oh, hold on. I think I'm about to cough up blood again. Ugh. Maybe I shouldn't be killing zombies that have faces bloodier than, well, a bloodbath. Who am I kidding? They're everywhere in my house. Anyhow, yeah, it's been taking Twitter on hold. They've died in the ocean. And Johnny's quote saying that it was flipping, probably he was saying, flipping amazing. Probably it's a term saying that, got flipped in the water and died. There are scenes where they could have died. So, and even there's a Twitter message, which I can't quite say for you, but I will put it at the very end of the video, if possible. If not, I will link it. I will put it in my description box or in the comments section, and that's if I can find it. But it clearly stated either the director or the actress, Olivia Newton, clearly stated that they drowned inside the beach, and that's kind of how we saw that first scene to begin with. So it's kind of losing everything that you loved. But I mean, like, if they actually did die in the lake, at least they still have each other. And even for the same thing here, I mean, this is like, it's a dark turn because it's very interesting. It's interesting to see that two characters that love each other so much has this type of bond close to Jean Grey and Scott Summers from the X-Men, minus the powers. You know, have this type of relationship, and yet you see them in this bizarre ending where they're flying in a car that was made by, like, Rick and Morty themselves, sending them back to the future or up into space, into the atmosphere. I mean, I had to sit through a whole movie to find scenes that at least made sense to the drowning that they had. So, it could be something. I have no idea. The fact that they died in the lake, or Sandy just dreamt it while she was in Australia, because she was from Australia. I mean, the character, it like was from Australia. It literally says it in the movie, like, what, once or twice. The fact that even that happened was very interesting, but that's kind of like my basic opinion. Now, which one should I pick? Should I pick, like, they're still alive but they're separated, or they died but they're still together? That's a tricky one for me because love relationships are not my style. I never look at romance films. There may be some movies that I've seen that has something to do with two lovers kissing each other, but that's it. I mean, it's not really the main part of the whole story. But in my opinion, I would have to go with the death ending because that's what everybody's talking about. Not only that, it's kind of like one of those dark things that you see in cinema that have been getting under the people's backs. I mean, this was during the start, either the start, like the beginning of the rating system, so the rating system wasn't much into effect. So, it's interesting. It's interesting to me, it's interesting to everybody else, and oh boy, I need to grab some tea. I had to follow the recipes in The Walking Dead for this tea. It's hot indeed, and it's gonna help me. Excuse me. I'll just set it down here. I forgot what they call this tea, but it took like a bunch of berries from a forest, and I had to put them in this cup. It's my favorite cup, and my little brothers put the little stickers on them. So yeah, that's kind of like what I'm pinning at. They died, but they're still loved together. I think the characters are in that heaven just loving each other. But then when Grease 2 came out, it put all that out of the water, but that's not really a good sequel. As a matter of fact, if I ever took a good look at Grease 2, you probably would figure out from me, and you know I'm going to say it's pretty bad. I mean, when you don't have the original cast, it's kind of sad to see. And this movie could warrant a remake, but I'm not pushing boundaries. I'm just saying that because Footloose had a remake in, I think, about 2012, 2011. So, imagine this having a remake. Would it turn out good? Would it turn out bad? Beyond me, because remakes stink nowadays. It's like no one in Hollywood can even get a clue on how to do a remake right. Neither can Disney. I don't give a shit how good Cinderella was. I don't care how they're in the box office. They stink. They look ugly. They don't even try to do anything good or anything different. Anything to refresh, you know? It's just not good. But some of it's a matter of my opinion, a little bit a matter of my palate. But I'll tell you what's basically not on my palate, and it's pretty much on everybody else's palate, is that ending. It's bizarre, it's weird. It couldn't just stick to them just dancing their way to the ending, you know, instead of this car coming by. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Because I'm just whacked on how this is going on. But don't worry, tomorrow we're going to be getting even darker, and that's we're going to journey to a man in a movie. Well, it's mostly okay. It's Harrison Ford finding the Holy Grail. You know the drill.